Live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. What a game, right? I mean, seriously, that was a fantastic game, right? Obviously, look, I'm a basketball fan. I love me some good basketball. That's all I could ask for with these finals, right? I don't have a dog in the fight. So, just give me good basketball. Give me good quality games. It's exactly what you got, in my opinion, right? I mean, this was a game that, the Thunder looked dead in the water. It looked like Indiana was going to run away with this game on several occasions. Looked like Indiana was going to, pull this one out. They go up 3-1. In my opinion, the series would have been over, right? And, the Thunder did what they kept doing, right? They ended up pulling it out. And SGA turned on the MVP, went in, took over in the fourth quarter and did what he was supposed to do. Hit big shots, created contact, got to the foul line, hit clutch free throws, hit a big three. It was like their third three-pointer of the game that he hit, right? It's just, you just tip your cap to him, right? I mean, Indiana had every chance to win this game. Missed free throws killed them. I mean, even Ben Mathurin. Ben Mathurin missed, 3 straight free throws? He makes those. It's a 1-point game at that time. And even if you foul and he makes free throws, you at least have a shot, right? You at least have a chance to maybe tie or pull off one of those crazy, Indiana heroics. But, again, you look at OKC and they just stick with it. Man, they're just a very good basketball team. And, it's why I thought OKC would still win this series, right? Even after, the previous win in Indiana and then them losing game one. It's one of those things where it's just I believe OKC is just more talented overall. I think SGA, it's just he's the guy that's just it's much easier for him to get his buckets, get to his spot, right? He knows how to work the angles and stuff, create the contact, get to the foul line. And I originally said that I thought that the Oklahoma City Thunder would win this in 6. I mean, they still very well could. I wouldn't be shocked if this goes to 7, just the way that these two teams are. I still believe the pressure is on OKC, though, right? OKC had a ton of pressure going into this game. And to their credit, right? Game 2 had a ton of pressure. Game 4, in my opinion, had even more pressure because you're not at home, right? It's one thing when you lose game 1 and then you go into game 2 and you have the fans in your favor, the crowd's cheering, you're more comfortable at home. Role players usually better. Guys usually step up more, right? It's another thing when you lose and you're down in the series and you're on the road and now you got to go pull out that win, right? Because now you don't have the crowd in your favor. Now you don't have, the role guys stepping up the way that they do at times. And you lose a lot of those things that give you the benefit when you're at home. OKC walked in and got the job done. You tip your cap to them. You tell them like, hey, you did good, right? Like, great job out there. And, a lot of it was, in my opinion, Indiana, again, just not seizing opportunities. This was one of the few times, and maybe it's because they missed the shots, right? Because, you can look at times even in like the Knicks series and stuff like that where Indiana looked very sporadic, right? Towards the end. Even when the games were tied and stuff, right? It's like the Thunder knew what to do. Give the ball to SGA, let them go to work, right? But then you had Indiana just, in my opinion, just poor shot selection and poor execution down the stretch. It was like they didn't know where to go, how to do it, right? Like what did they want to do? Halliburton's taking, crazy step back 30-footers and stuff. And it's just like, do the things that got you the lead, that built on the lead, that put you in the position to have the success originally, right? Why are you starting to get away from those things? And it's just, again, OKC, they just continue to do what they do, right? And they hit some key shots, and Indiana, there's times where they look sporadic, right? But they're hitting those shots, right? Halliburton's taking those 30-footers and he's hitting them. He's knocking them down, right? So it looks that as bad. But you saw in this game, it looked terrible. It looked like a team that just started to panic, right? And just started to, and that's not good, right? Because, series is tied. Now it's, a best of three. You win two, whoever wins two out of the next three can't put yourself in a position, one, to lose a game that you shouldn't have lost, right? You could argue the Thunder did that in game one, right? Thunder repaid them in this game, game four. But when you're the Pacers, you're the underdog, right? You don't have home court, and you're going up against a team that many, myself included, think are better, right? You can't then beat yourself. And I felt like this was a game where they really beat themselves, where when things started to get bad, right? The team that I believed experience would help them in these scenarios, right? Like a lot of these games, I was like, man, the Thunder are going to have to really like pull away. All these tight games, Pacers are probably going to win these because they've been there. They've done that, right? They were just in the conference finals, right? So they've been in these spots. They've been in these moments. So, and you've seen all postseason that there are times where they are in those moments and they look comfortable. They look fine. They look like, again, like a team that knows what they want to do. And I really felt, and you credit the Thunder, right? Because the Thunder did a good job of making them uncomfortable and putting them in that spot and not laying down. They easily, when they went into that fourth quarter, where they were down 7, right? They easily could have just called it a night, right? And just been like, hey, we just don't got it tonight. They kept at it. They kept playing their game. They kept doing their thing. They basically, did what the Pacers do, right? Doesn't matter how much we're down, we're right in it, right? And to OKC's credit, they did what they were supposed to do and got that win in a game that, in all honesty, they probably shouldn't have gotten, right? And in all honesty, Indiana should have probably won that game. But again, the team that I just felt roles really reversed this game. I felt like the Thunder seemed more comfortable in those spots, right? Again, Alex Caruso continues, in my opinion, Alex Caruso has been the second best player in these postseason. I know, Jalen Williams has scored a bunch of points, done a bunch of stuff and all that. Like, that's fine. That's great. But like Alex Caruso's impact on both sides of the basketball, the guy has three 20-point games in this finals, right? He didn't have a 20-point game all season and stuff, right? Like, he's just been spectacular. But in general, like, this team has just continued and just looked like a team that is poised to win it all. And I felt Indiana looked like that team for pretty much all postseason, right? And then they got into this game, and I felt just really collapsed. I felt really just, they looked like the team that started to panic, started to drown a little bit. I mean, you look at the Thunder, 13 turnovers, right? Indiana had 15, but Thunder, a team that's supposed to be forcing turnovers, not creating or not giving the turnovers. But you look at the 3-pointers, right? Like, this is a team that just won by 7, and they were 3 of 17 from 3-point range, 17.6%. Where you look at a team like in Indiana, they were 30%. They were almost double the percentage and still got smacked, right? And it's just, this team's got a lot to figure out, right? Obviously, look, it's not over for Indiana. I mean, I still think the Thunder win the series, but it's not over for Indiana, right? I still think the pressure is on OKC, right? So far, no one's been able to win 2 straight games, right? Because Pacers won game 1, Thunder 2, Pacers 3, Thunder 4. It's going to take which team wins 2 straight games. Whichever team that is wins this championship, right? Because if they continue to go back and forth, right? One, Thunder end up losing, but Thunder win this next game, game 5, then you go 6, and then Thunder have home court. I don't think the Pacers win game 7. I don't. Could be wrong, right? I think the Thunder at home, game 7, I think that they'll win that. To me, I think the Pacers, if they're going to win this series, have to win the next 2 games. They have to win in OKC, which they've already proven they can do, right? Can they keep the trend of no team losing twice and then go into that Pacers game or in Indiana, get the job done, win that, and we're good, right? If they don't, I personally think that the Thunder win in 7, right? I wouldn't be shocked if the Thunder win in 6. But to me, I think it's really going to come down to which team wins 2 straight games, right? Technically, the Pacers don't have to. They could just keep, doing what they do. You could argue, but even then, it's like, best of 3. If Thunder win 1, Pacers win 1, Thunder win 1, neither team really has to do that, right? So to me, it's will experience trump the youth and talent, right? Because that's basically how I look at the series is that you have a team in the Indiana Pacers that have the experience. They've been there. They've done that. They're comfortable, right? Even though this game they didn't look comfortable. And I look at a team like OKC that's just they're more talented, right? They have the best player on the court every night, right? And that goes a long way. And this was a game that proved that. This was a game that showed who the best player on the court was. And that was SGA. And in the fourth quarter, took over and dominated that game. Hit every big shot down the stretch, every big free throw down the stretch, played like the MVP, played like how he was supposed to play, right? But if you're the Pacers, you kind of tip your cap to him. Just say, hey, good job. Good on you. But anyway, I want to move on to the Kevin Durant trade, kind of give that kind of updates. For those that are watching this on the replay, let me know down in the comments what you thought of this game. If you're in the live stream, leave your comments and stuff, and I'll get to those here in a moment. I want to kind of go over the Kevin Durant information and kind of where he goes because I do think that there's a lot, and then I'll jump into the chat. So stay tuned, keep leaving your comments, and then we'll get into the chat here. But Kevin Durant, got news on Kevin Durant. Trade is expected to get done sooner rather than later. Bare minimum, this trade is expected to get done by the draft, right? That the Phoenix Suns do not want to drag this out. They want to get it done by the draft, more likely than not, because they're probably going to try to get a pick in this draft, right? So want to get that done sooner rather than later. Now, based on reports from Shams, this could get done as soon as, within a couple days is what was reported, that this could get done sooner rather than later. And we'll see. We'll see how soon it is. Tomorrow, is it a week from now? What's going to end up happening? But ultimately, I do expect this team or this trade to get done by, the draft day. The finalists, based on reports, seem to be the Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, and the Houston Rockets, right? So you have Houston, Miami, and then why am I blanking on the other team? It's Houston, Miami, and I'm blanking on the third team. Sorry, come to me. But point is that the three-team sweepstakes appears, but that doesn't account for any of the other teams that could be in the works. A lot of times you hear that, hey, these teams are the finalists, and then that random team that ponies up comes at the end, right? You have teams like Toronto that supposedly are willing to maybe pony up and make that move, make that trade, right? That they're willing to do kind of a Kawhi Leonard situation, right? You have teams like the San Antonio Spurs who supposedly are in the mix, and, are they willing to pony up what it takes, right? They want Kevin Durant. Supposedly, reports came out, supposedly Kevin Durant's camp prefers the San Antonio Spurs and want to see Kevin Durant go to the Spurs, and Kevin Durant himself supposedly, again, based on reports, everything's rumor until it actually happens, something to keep in mind. But Kevin Durant himself supposedly wants to go to the San Antonio Spurs as well. That those two, the camp, Spurs, and then Kevin Durant, so those three, all want to kind of make it happen. but the Spurs were not in the teams that were the finalists, right? So to me, kind of makes me wonder, is this going to be something where there's that surprise team, again, Spurs team, Toronto team, or does he end up going to one of these other teams? Kevin Durant has a lot of say. Kevin Durant has a lot of power. Why? Because he's going into a contract year. If he wants to go to a team like the Spurs, he could easily just say, hey, I only want to go to the Spurs. You can trade for me, right? He could pull in Anthony Davis to the Lakers, right? That's what Anthony Davis did. All these teams want to trade for him, Boston, all these other teams. And he said, hey, you can trade for me. But if you do, I'm just in the next season, I'm going to go and sign with the Lakers, right? Could Kevin Durant do that for a team like the Spurs or even Houston? Minnesota was that third team. There we go. Knew it would come to me. So 3 teams that are the finalists are Minnesota, Miami, and Houston. There we go. I knew it'd come to me. I don't, and especially Minnesota, because that's the team that I think makes the most sense if he wants to win sooner rather than later. Like, I look at the teams. So let's look at the finalists first, and then I'll talk about the other teams, right? Looking at the finalists, I think Miami, I don't see. Supposedly they don't want to trade Bam and they don't want to trade Tyler Hero. So what, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez, they got to do what, Duncan Robinson as, as for salary. How are they going to make that work? I don't see it. Maybe they're able to pull it off. Who knows? Maybe, again, Kevin Durant has a lot of power and say, he could say, hey, I want to go east. I only want to go to Miami, right? And force his way to Miami. That's a real possibility. That's something that could absolutely happen. But I think Houston or Minnesota are 2 teams that make a lot of sense, right? Because they would have to trade Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert. My guess is that it's Rudy Gobert. I think they'll probably keep Julius Randle and just kind of go big and then figure out the center position. Because at that point, you just need a serviceable center, right? You'd still have the toughness, still have size, you have all that stuff, and kind of go something like, problem is like, how do you structure that lineup, right? Because also Phoenix wants a center, supposedly. Phoenix is looking for a center. So, okay, Rudy Gobert, right? But then what do? You go Anthony Edwards and have him be your point guard, right? So you go Anthony Edwards, I don't know, Jaden McDaniels, Kevin Durant, Julius Randle, and then go get a serviceable center. Maybe you're getting Nick Richards in the trade, right? And then Nick Richards is kind of your serviceable center. And then maybe you're trading a Rob Dillingham and, a Rudy Gobert. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Is it like a Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo? Maybe. I mean, that'd be probably the cleanest, right? Because then you could just plug in Kevin Durant where Julius Randle was, right? And then basically, literally run the same 5-man unit, just Kevin Durant where Julius Randle was. The Houston Rockets obviously could give the best return, right? Houston has, I mean, 1, they have all the Phoenix picks. 2, I mean, they could put together probably the best package. I also think Houston would be willing to pony up the most, right? Like a team like San Antonio, I don't know if they would be willing to pony up what would be needed in order to pull that off, right? I could see, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, the 14th pick, maybe like a Jeremy Sohan, but I don't know if the Spurs go beyond that, right? Because the Spurs would be great, right? Him, Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Devon Castle, go get Dylan Harper. I don't know if that would be enough to win the championship yet, right? I think it depends. What else do the Spurs do? What does Victor Wembanyama look like in year 3? What does Castle look like in year 2? How is Dylan Harper in year 1? Does De'Aaron Fox attribute to winning, right? Does he help in the win and loss column? Or does he end up because there were questions even in Sacramento about him contributing to actual wins, right? And you look, he gets traded to a team in San Antonio. San Antonio doesn't give up any of their core pieces, and they actually had a worse win percentage with them. So it's like that's a question, but I do think Spurs would be a lot of fun. I also think just for Victor Wembanyama's progression, I think Kevin Durant makes a ton of sense because Victor Wembanyama wants to be more Kevin Durant than he does, Hakeem Olajuwon, right? So what better way to be more, you know, Durant like than to learn from Durant himself? So I think that would be interesting, but expect the trade to get done sooner rather than later. Like I said, probably closer to the draft day. I could see it being something where maybe it gets announced right, like a couple days out, and then but we don't actually get it official till draft night, right? Especially if it's for, a specific pick or whatever, right? So my guess is he goes to Houston. Like if I had hey Tyler, where do you think he ends up? I think it's probably Houston. Minnesota wouldn't shock me. Like if we're going into the assumption that the three teams that are the finalists are accurate, I think in order, Houston, Minnesota, and Miami, right? I think Miami has the least percentage of actually landing them. Minnesota, I think, could be really interesting. But to me, if Houston really wants Kevin Durant will be a Rocket. Because, again, they have all of the Suns picks. They have tons of young players. Like, what do you want? What do you need? Right? Obviously, they're not going to trade Amen Thompson. I don't think they'd trade Şengün for him. But outside of that, it's like, hey, what do you want? Right? I could see that pulling off and getting done. But we'll see. Time will tell. Anyway, let's get into the chat here. And go over all that. Kind of closing thoughts. And then, like I said, I'll get into the chat here. But one, I think the Pacers blew any opportunity that they had of winning the championship personally. Right? Again, maybe they go in OKC, win again, and close it out in Indiana. I think this was their golden opportunity. I thought if they win today, probably lose at OKC, close it out at home, and Indiana wins their first NBA championship. Instead, I think chances are, I do still think OKC has all the pressure. I still think OKC is the team that, because they cannot lose that game, right? If they lose that game, it might be over, right? Because now you got to go into Indiana, beat Indiana again with all the momentum, and Indiana knowing if we win this game, that's it. We close it out. Done. Wrapped, right? So I do think OKC still has all the pressure. How will they respond? But both times that they've had the pressure, they've won, right? After game one, they had the pressure. Again, it's at home. Pressure's not as hard when you're comfortable, when you're in your home, right? Then they had more pressure in this game and looked like it was about to get away from them. Like it was about to get ran, and they pulled through again, right? So that in and of itself, I think is very interesting. And then Kevin Durant, it's also going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the market, right? Because Giannis doesn't appear like he's going to be available. Giannis looks like he's going to end up sticking around in Milwaukee. So it was kind of like that might hold everything up. And then Kevin Durant and that trade might potentially hold everything up. But now that Kevin Durant is actually going to get traded, I think this is going to be a really quick and wild trade off season. So I'm excited for that and seeing where he goes. But anyway, answer a couple questions and then skate on out of here. So Zion, I agree. I believe OKC wins the series. Game 5 becomes pivotal because it comes the pressure closing it out in Game 6. OKC is the best home team in the NBA and have the momentum going into Game 5. Agreed. I think this was Indiana's one chance. I think if Indiana won this game, they win the series. I even said it in the last live stream when, Indiana won. I said if they win that, they go up 3-1, series is over. That I don't think OKC beats them 3 games. Technically, could they? Sure. I just don't think it happens. And given how poorly OKC shot, how hot Indiana started the game shooting, that game looked like it was getting away and slipping away on several occasions. And the fact that they were able to, in my opinion, really steal that game from Indiana. Indiana had chance after chance after chance after chance to get that win, to get that done. And they just blew it every step of the way. I think OKC wins the series now. I think that they win in OKC, and then they'll be up 3-2. And then from there, just can Indiana survive to go to a game 7? I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to game 7. I said originally OKC in 6. Technically, they could win in 6. Are they going to win 3 straight games against Indiana, though? I don't know. Indiana's been really good. And again, this was another game that they should have won. So are they going to be able to win? Because, if they win the next 2, then that would be 3 straight. It's tough. I'm not saying they can't. They absolutely could. But I think I don't think Indiana's going to lose again at home. Maybe they do. I don't. I think that they handle business. I think this probably goes to 7. I do. If OKC would have won game 3, I think it probably finishes in 6. But the fact that OKC lost game 3 and they've kind of traded, is OKC and Indiana going to go from like no one can beat each other twice to we lost 3 straight games? I don't think so. Right? Again, could be wrong, but we'll see. Do you think at some point Booker wants out as well as it stands? At some point, yes. I wouldn't be shocked at all if after this year Devin Booker requests a trade. I think he'll give them a chance to try to work it out and see if they can, like, what can they get for Kevin Durant? How can they kind of retool this roster, right? Because he's been incredibly patient. I could see him, just, again, trying to give the Suns a chance. But after this year, right, he'd still have 2 more years on his contract. He'd have $57 million and then $61 million in 2027, 2028. Technically, Phoenix wouldn't have to trade him, but I mean, after this year, Devin Booker's going to be 30. He's been to an NBA Finals, but it's like you're 30 years old now. The likelihood of you winning a championship in Phoenix is probably slim to none because it's probably going to be a process, right? Like, they're not going to be able to trade Bradley Beal. So they're not going to be able to trade Bradley Beal. Kevin Durant is probably going to yield a decent return, but I don't think it yields the return that they want. If I was, honestly, and I don't think that they'll do this because Matt Ishbia himself said that they're not going to do it, right? But if I was the Suns, I would tell Houston, I basically want all my picks back, right? Like, you have all my picks. I want those back. You don't have to give me any of your core guys, right? Keep your core guys. Pick off some of the young guys, right? Like, can you get multiple first back that are yours, right? Like, hey, we want to bottom out. That's what we want to do. We want to bottom out, start over, right? So we want our picks back. And then can you convince them to give you like a Reed Shepherd? Obviously, you'd have to match salaries or whatever. So whatever, match salaries, throw in a Reed Shepherd and maybe like a Cam Whitmore, just to give you like 2 young guys to kind of build around. We want as many of our picks as you can possibly get back. And then I would look to trade Devin Booker. I would put Devin Booker on the market because I think you'd get an insane return. Or you could even go to Houston and be like, hey, what do I know you want Kevin Durant. What do you think about Devin Booker? Because then at that point, you might be able to get all your picks back plus 2 or 3 young guys, right? So you might be able to fully just like hit the reset button and then still trade Kevin Durant to, one of these other teams. Like if you could you get, like a Reed Shepard, a Jabari Smith Jr., and like, you know, all your picks back, right? And then some. Obviously, you have to match salaries. Maybe get a Jalen Green, right? Because they have that. So maybe Jalen Green's the salary filler. You're getting Reed Shepard, Cam Whitmore, and Jabari Smith Jr. Boom, right? And then getting back all of your picks. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many. I think they have like 4 of their picks, 3 or 4 of their picks. But can you get all those picks? Now you have all your picks back so you can bottom out. You have, 4 young guys that you can build around, right? And then take Kevin Durant, trade him to a team like Minnesota, and can you get like Rob Dillingham and maybe Julius Randle or whatever, so that way you can just let him walk in a year and then clear your salary and then get whatever young assets you can, or again go to a Spurs team, whatever, right? Sell Kevin Durant to the highest bidder, right? Or maybe just be like, hey, instead of a bunch of players, right, we want picks, right? And maybe go get the 14th pick and future picks from San Antonio and be like, hey, you keep most of your core guys, we just want picks, right? Like, and just bottom out, because I don't see a way for the Phoenix Suns to fix this. I don't. Bradley Beal ain't going anywhere. He has a no trade clause. You're not going to get anything for him, and you're not going to have a team out of the kindness of their heart just take him. So you're stuck with Bradley Beal. He's going to opt into his contract. Like, you're stuck with him. The only way to really fix this is to trade Devin Booker. And you're better off trading Devin Booker now while he has multiple years on his deal and you're not forced to trade him, right? Do it while you have the power. Do it while you have the say and control. Because as long as you have the say and control, right, then you don't have to trade him. It's like, hey, this is what we want. If you don't want to give that up, fine, we'll just keep him, right? And you have all the power. Force these teams to give up what you want, rather than now Devin Booker wants out and things are starting to get ugly. And now, you put yourself in a position to where you lose everything. If I was Phoenix, I would just bottom out entirely. I just don't think that they're going to do that personally. But Blanco, what's going on, buddy? Appreciate you. He betrayed Dr. Pepper. Never. I actually have Dr. Pepper in my fridge too. I just had a Pepsi, and I was trying this. Just opened this. Not sponsored, by the way. I should probably say that. Liquid Death root beer, because trying to cut back on my soda intake, and kind of tastes like root beer. Like, it's not exact. It's kind of like you can taste the water, but it tastes like watered down root beer, but it's not bad. I actually don't mind it. Right? Again, not sponsored, but yeah, just a thought. I want to see what it looks like with Zion gets on a team he actually wants to play for. I do too, right? Would he take it more serious? If Zion goes to a team that he actually wants to be a part of, right? He wants to go to a big market. He wants to go to the Knicks, right? What does he look like on the Knicks? I think that'd be interesting, right? Like, would he take his health and everything more serious? Can you imagine KD wanting to go to our Lakers? Could I? Yes. I don't think he will. I don't even think the Lakers are even considering Kevin Durant. Never say never. It's always possible. But I don't look, if you can get Kevin Durant, hypothetically speaking, it'd be kind of hard to say no. It'd be kind of hard to pass on KD, but I don't really think that that's what the Lakers need, right? Kevin Durant fits the LeBron timeline, right? And it would be kind of a cool story. KD and LeBron playing together. It's something I would have always loved to see. They win a championship together, right? I mean, talk KD, LeBron, and Luka. That's probably good enough. Just them to win. Like just those, like you and me could probably be on that team and we'd probably win a championship if everyone's healthy. But I just think the Lakers, like, there's also an argument long term that, like, you win a championship or two, it's worth it. One, two, Kevin Durant and LeBron could just retire at the same time, right off in the sunset, and then you like clear, like 120 million off your books, right? So there's that factor in it too. And then you just kind of reset around Luka. Now maybe you have a championship or two, but I just I think the Lakers just kind of need to stay the course, go get the quality pieces. Kevin Durant would have, the only way that happens is if Kevin Durant goes, I only want to go to the Lakers. Like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I just want to go to the Lakers. That's it. Right. Like, then I could see maybe that happening. Scott Foster, extend the series. Yeah, always. Right. That's what he does. That's what he's there for. Right. That's what he does best. Extend series. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think he does it again. Right. That's why he's there. Did you want our Lakers to draft Tatum back then? As it stands, just wondering. If they didn't, like, I understood why they wanted Lonzo Ball, and at the time, right, hindsight's always 2020. Lonzo Ball was the right pick. As much as people like to make it seem like it wasn't, it was. At that time, it was. I mean, homegrown kid, looked like the next great point guard. I mean, dude was arguably the best player in all of college, right? Like, got Magic Johnson running the show. It made more sense. It made too much sense from a financial standpoint to an actual player standpoint, right? But then to go and look back, it's like, yeah, they probably should have. But yeah, I want to see Ball on a better team as well. Lonzo Ball or LaMelo Ball, because Lonzo Ball, supposedly the Lakers want to bring him back. LaMelo, I actually really like. Zion's from Charlotte, right? So if I was Melo, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify. But if I was Zion, I think he should go to Charlotte. I know it's not the big market he wants to, but like LaMelo and Zion would be fun. And he's from there, like, right? So like gets to go home, right? Maybe being around his family more, like that might help. Him and LaMelo even played against each other, like they're familiar with each other, like growing up. They knew each other growing up. Put them on the same team. And I mean, if you're Charlotte financially, you probably make $1 billion, right? Like having LaMelo and like, even if they're terrible, you do it just because it make too much sense not to. What do you think it's going to take Tingus Pingus from the Celtics after they give him up? Like, where do I think he's gonna go? That's the question. Problem with Kristaps Porzingis is like the dude just cannot stay healthy, right? Especially come playoff time. If that guy could just stay healthy, that dude, I mean, every team in the league would probably want him, right? Like, but it's just such a big risk. Like, you have no idea what's gonna happen to him and where he's gonna go, right? Like you just don't know if you can count on him. Is he gonna play, every game in the playoffs, or is he only going to play 2? Are you going to have to bring him off the bench because you just can't stay out? Like, that's the problem. Melo and Zion are the biggest entertaining letdowns for me. Yeah, I mean, LaMelo, his problem is he can't stay healthy. That's his biggest problem. He just can't stay healthy. Melo not doing, but Zion could be to blame for not putting respect on his own name. Dude, Zion has every reason to be a top 5 player in the NBA. And the only reason he's not is because he can't get out of his own way. It's crazy. Like, that dude has like so much talent. It's insane. Lonzo is the definition of a Swiss Army knife. If not for the injuries, he'd be having a good career. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. He's not great at anything. He's good at everything. I mean, I would argue defensively, he's one of, if not arguably the best just guard defenders in basketball. I mean, that guy is even, dude, the guy missed 2 straight seasons, came back, and still averaged 2 steals a game in limited minutes, right? Like defensively, that guy is excellent. Playmaking wise, he's excellent. It's just the guy can't stay healthy. I mean, you're spot on. The guy does everything. Guy is fantastic. He just cannot stay healthy. Cannot stay healthy at all. And that's the big problem. But I have a video on Zion on Lonzo um that I will probably have posted in the morning. So look out for that. But yeah, if you can get Lonzo, I wouldn't hate it. Are the 76ers keeping Joel Embiid? Honestly, they shouldn't. Honestly, they have the number 3 pick. They have Jared McCain, who would have been rookie of the year had he not gotten hurt. They have Tyrese Maxey. Trade Joel Embiid to the highest bidder. You're probably stuck with Paul George. If you can find somebody to take him, right? But to me, I would just, if I was the Sixers, I would just hit the reset button. Problem is the Sixers aren't, because they're probably going to look at it as like the East is wide open. Boston isn't going to be anything next season. So you just have to worry about like the Cavs, the Knicks, and the Pacers, right? So I could see them kind of being like, we're right there. We got the number 3 pick. I just think the Embiid experiment is over. The guy can't stay healthy. The guy doesn't show up in the postseason. He doesn't show up when it matters. I just think if you're the Sixers, it's like, at what point do you just hit the reset button, right? Joel Embiid's probably never going to request a trade, right? And if you get a nice return for him, hit the reset. But I don't, like, would Sixer fans really be that mad? It's like, do you really want to be a perennial, mediocre team every year until Joel Embiid decides it's time to retire, right? And at that point, it's like, you probably should have traded him. And, everyone's going to be like, maybe we should have traded him. I just think you do it. I really do. Like, I think you trade Joel Embiid and you get everything you can, right? Can you trade Joel Embiid, get another lottery pick in this year's draft? And then I just don't know what team would trade for Joel Embiid. Like, what team wants to, what is his market? And what team would be willing to pony up to get him? Because he's a big risk. That's the problem. Zion is like Shaq food problems mixed with Wood's wife side chick problems. Not wrong. Alex Caruso, dude. Alex Caruso has arguably been the second best player in OKC for OKC. I know Jalen Williams stuff scored 27 or whatever. Alex Caruso's impact has been like immeasurable for that team. Yeah, letting Alex Caruso go was terrible. Zion was making Giannis look like a child when he ripped the ball out of his hands, whom many consider one of the best, which blew me away at how he threw it all away. Yeah. The only time I've really seen Zion, right? Zion has had many moments where he just looks great, right? Many moments where he looks like, wow, right? But it was last year in the game before the play-in against the Lakers, right? That was the first time, in my opinion, that I saw Zion go give me the ball and get out of the way, and was the best player on the basketball court with LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the basketball court. If the Lakers didn't have like a significant lead at that point, and I mean, it wasn't a lot. I mean, Zion might have came back, but they had a big enough cushion, and the Pelicans just couldn't stop them. But literally, Zion scored like, I think it was like 12 straight points or something like that off the top of my head, and looked literally unstoppable. I mean, was just bullying the Lakers and just got play. I mean, Anthony Davis, talk about arguably the best defensive player in all of basketball, and was making him look like he was pedestrian, right? And it was just like play out, possession after possession. I mean, the guy was just, give me the ball, get out of the way, and go. And then he got hurt, and it was like, oh, come on, dude. It's like you finally look like the best player in the league and gets hurt. It's just like, man, like, if only Dwight Howard was still younger. As it stands, I kind of miss him though. I mean, yeah, if he was 5 years younger, I'd be like, sign him up. Who's a couple players in the past that you think would be Hall of Famers if not for the injuries? Names that come to mind. Brandon Roy was literally the first one that came to mind. Maybe even Gilbert Arenas outside of the incident. If Gilbert Arenas didn't, yeah, he would have stayed out of that incident. Greg Oden. Trying to think of because I mean, there's got like Joel Embiid probably going to be a Hall of Famer, but injuries really decimated him. Brandon Roy was the one that immediately came to my mind. I'm trying to think of who's in the Hall of Fame because like players in general, like Penny Hardaway, if he doesn't get hurt, Grant Hill, he's another one, right? But like some of those guys might end up being in the Hall of Fame. That's the problem. Man, great question. I kind of want Indiana to win for the story. I do too, and I've said that a million times. Like I'm a big fan of history. I'm a big fan of the underdog. Big fan. I just think it'd be one of, if not the greatest playoff runs ever. Right? Like I just think it'd be great. Like it'd be a great story. But I don't want to deal with the pissed off OKC next year, especially if they get better talent. Yeah, I also want to. So I also want to see Indiana win this series because I want to see what OKC does. Like, does OKC just like panic and go like sell the farm for Giannis? Right? Like, what do they do? Right? Do they just like tear it down, or are they smart enough to stay the course? Right? Like, because that was the thing with OKC last time. Right? It was like, dude, if you just stay the course, you're a dynasty, and they probably win 3 championships at least, if not more. Right? But they did it, and granted, that wasn't necessarily a panic. That was just like them being cheap, but still, it was like I really want to know what OKC does because I can see a version where they end up making a bunch of moves and think like, oh man, we got to get this done, and it like completely ruins the franchise, right? Like sets them back. So I kind of want to see where that goes. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. I think what makes Zion so strong is there isn't a man his size playing the inside. It's all like Ant-Man and Morant. Yes, I mean, part of it is just, there's not the big body specimens anymore. 2, I think a big part of it is that there's just not the like everyone his size is not as explosive and fast as him. Right? It's kind of like what like LeBron was, right? Everyone his size isn't as fast. Everyone that's as fast isn't as strong. That's kind of what I feel with Zion. Like everybody that's his size, he's just more explosive, quicker, especially for a guy that's like 300 pounds. And the way he moves, it's just like, it's crazy. What would be the dream scenario to start next season for the Lakers? As far as like off season and trade wise goes, keeping it semi-realistic. Without naming players, I would say clear-cut starting center, clear-cut backup center, and then 3 like perimeter guys. Ideally, at least 1 or 2 of those being like legit 3-and-D guys. I don't think the Lakers are far. Like, I don't think the Lakers have to like completely roster rehaul. I also think you're going to have a very motivated Luka who already completely transformed his body to where I think that alone is going to make the Lakers better. I mean, just a serviceable center, like a legit start, like even just like a Clint Capella, I think would do wonders for the Lakers, right? But I do think that they need some real athleticism, stuff like that. Ideally, in like a perfect world, while still keeping it realistic, Triple J asks out and says he wants to go to Lakers because he's in a contract year and he can't qualify for a supermax anymore. So he can basically get the same money anywhere, and goes, I want to go to the Lakers, and the Lakers trade and go get Triple J, and then magically are able to keep enough assets to go get like a Herb Jones or something like that, and then the Lakers are running through everybody. Right? That kind of that'd be ideal. Is it possible to get Drew Holiday for Lakers? Is it possible? Yes. It's just I don't think the Lakers are going to pony up what they need to pony up to get him. One, and two, I worry about just kind of his age, right? Like in his contract for the long term. you're kind of stuck at that point with him. I love Drew Holiday. I mean, he's exactly what you need. Slot alongside Luka, like exactly. I don't know if the Lakers would give up what they need to give up. Do you think the GOAT debate is kind of silly as it stands? Yes, I do. Look, I'm on record saying that I believe LeBron is the greatest basketball player ever. If you're talking about just pure basketball, right? All the personal accolades and everything like that, they're all personal stuff, right? Like they're not team accomplishment. Like people throw out NBA finals, like, oh, well, Jordan 6-0. He also had the best team in the league every year. He also had a super team and was the best team in the league every year. And again, championships are a team accomplishment, right? Like Jordan didn't win those championships by himself, right? It wasn't like Michael Jordan was playing 1-5 out there. So I think LeBron James is just like a pure like strip away everything. LeBron James, literally, you can play with anybody, right? Start with anybody. He can do everything out there. But it's all personal, opinion, right? It's all, as far as like who's the best. I think you're better off just doing position, right? Like, Magic's the best point guard, or Steph, whatever. But Magic's the best point guard. Jordan's the best shooting guard. LeBron's the best small forward. Duncan's the best power forward, and Kareem's the best center. Like, I think that's the better approach, because it's just, again, you're talking about different eras, different times, different circumstances, different teams, different rules, right? It's just, it's silly, right? Like, I can sit here for an hour and make an argument for why LeBron James is the greatest player ever and give stats, opinions, whatever, right? And then I could sit here for an hour and give counterpoints to all of those and why Jordan's the best. It's just, again, a lot of it just boils down to personal preference. Buck, is JJ the coach to keep going forward with, or was Ham and Vogel better to you? JJ Redick 100% is the coach to be going with. I am super high on JJ Redick. I know he had some blunders this year, especially in the playoffs, right? Like, I get the idea that he had. It was a game 4 where he like played all his starters, or well, not starters because Dorian Finney-Smith, but basically his 5 best players, 24 minutes the whole half. I don't really like knock him for that, just because, again, it's like Jackson Hayes was unplayable. Dalton Connect isn't saving the day. It's like, who do you got, right? Like, ride with your 5 best guys until the wheels fall off. I don't really blame him for that. It's just 24 minutes is a lot. It's like you couldn't have just given him, like, play Jordan Goodwin for 4 minutes, at each position, whatever, right? Like, there's just, again, there's definitely some blunders, right? But he's a guy that is obsessive. You saw the adjustments, you saw the changes, you saw just the way that he approaches the game, how manic he is about the game and succeeding and stuff. Like, you want a guy that is like as obsessive as winning and being the best coach as the players are for winning and being the best players, right? Like, JJ Redick, I think, is all of that. I think he has the mind, he has the IQ. I mean, the guy was running all kinds of schemes. He took basically the same team Darvin Ham had and made them the 3 seed. went through like 4 different iterations of this team, had them be the best defense in the league with Jackson Hayes as your center, right? Like the guy exceeded expectations, right? It's just, again, you ran into probably the worst team to play in the first round, in my opinion. It's why I didn't want to play Minnesota, right? Like I was screaming not to play Minnesota in the first round. I just think it was a bad matchup in the first round. I didn't mind playing them in the second round. I just think there was too many things that they had to figure out. And you played the most physical team, probably the worst team in which you needed to figure stuff out with. Also, Ben Simmons, special talent, but he'll never be the player that he once was. Yeah, I mean, Ben Simmons is pretty much good. At this point, I think he's just solid backup, solid, like, versatile piece. Right, like, I think Ben Simmons' best use is like your Swiss Army knife guy, right? Like a Draymond Green type, where you're kind of running action through him, having him defend multiple positions. You can slot him in different areas, right? Just kind of use him as a utility guy off the bench. That's what I think he's probably best at. Same LeBron was going up against the 70-win team and not being on the 70-win team. Exactly. Right? Like, again, Jordan was the 70-win team, right? Like, Jordan, like, one of the things that I think funny, and I don't want to really get into the Jordan LeBron debate, but one of the things that I think is hilarious, and like, pay attention to people because it's funny. People do this all the time with the Jordan debates, is they'll talk about how LeBron stacked teams and all this stuff. And then, like, you'll ask them, or they'll bring up, okay, well, Michael Jordan wasn't on a stacked team. Oh, no, Jordan was this, that, the other. Or you bring up the Pippen thing. Oh, and they have like every excuse in the book. And it's like, okay, well, then why were they considered the greatest team ever? Right? Like, again, why did they have the record before the Warriors? Right? Like, you start breaking the team, because you can't have both. Either they're the greatest team ever, right? Or they're not. Whether Jordan's a part of that or not, they like, again, greatest team, not greatest player, greatest team. People always that, with the the 96 Bull, would they be able to beat the Warriors, or would they be able to beat this team or that team or this team? And it's like, every Jordan stand is like, yes, absolutely, of course, the best team ever. Okay, so they're the most stacked team ever, right? Like, that's how it works. Right? Like, you can't be like, oh, they're the best team ever, but it's a bunch of bums and Michael Jordan, right? Like, no, it doesn't work that way. So I always think that that's funny, because you always see people like in the Jordan debate, right? And I've even watched like random videos or live streams, or you'll see like chats of it and stuff. And it's so funny because they'll be like, well, Jordan is just the greatest player ever. He carried, basically kind of like insinuating like outside of Scotty, it was just a bunch of bums. And it's like, so like Dennis Rodman's a bum, right? Like Horace Grant, like all these guys, it's like Paxton, like they're all just bums. Jordan did it by himself. So then he wasn't the great. So they weren't the greatest team ever. It's just Jordan was the greatest player ever. Oh, no, they're the greatest team. Okay, so again, which one is it? It's like, you can't have both. Either Jordan carried a bunch of bums, or he had the most stacked team in NBA history, which is, just for fun, as it stands, any soda you kind of hate, anything orange. I'm not a big orange guy. Like, I just, for whatever reason, I'm not like allergic or anything like that. It's just like the orange taste. The only thing, like, I will say, like, I think it was Fanta, like Fanta orange. It didn't really taste like orange. I don't know, just like orange drinks. I'm not a big orange guy, or like cream soda, things like that. I just think I'm like, ugh. I'd rather not. But outside of that, it's yeah. All right, let's get these last questions. Let's get on out of here. Orlando, to me, has the best pieces for the Lakers. If you can get Carter Jr., Suggs, Isaac, KCP, or Black, I trade whatever you have to. Problem is, I don't think Orlando sees value outside AR. Yes. Orlando definitely has. I mean, they literally have everything you need to solve this team. You might be able to get KCP because the he had a really bad year for them, and he's on multiple years, and they kind of overpaid for him. But KCP's best years are with the Lakers, and I still think he'd get right back to that. And he's only a year removed from being, all defense. In a perfect world, give me Carter Jr., Jalen Suggs, and Jonathan Isaac. And I think the Lakers solve all of their problems, literally all of their problems. Are you excited for Alien Earth? Yes, but I'm a little pessimistic or pessimistic. I'm going in with caution. It's probably a good way to put it. Oh, Bucka, by the way, before I skate on out of here, did you see me on Night's Channel shredding the Scream 6? And I was talking about like that might be like the worst movie ever. And then they were like, "Oh, it's not the worst movie." And it was funny. If you didn't, you should go check that out. It was over on Night's Channel. We did the collective reunion thing, and like it's like towards the end, right? It lasts like 5 minutes or whatever. I just like shredded that movie because it was hilarious. Last fun question: do you like the cold weather? I don't. I prefer it over the hot weather for sure. I mean, it's definitely a bit of an adjustment because I was born and raised in California and then went to Las Vegas. But I'd rather be cold than hot. Like I can't stand. Like nothing's worse than being hot. Nothing's worse than being hot. No, I have to check it out. I caught drama. I emailed you about. Yeah, I got to read your email. I haven't been trying to ignore you. I promise. I've just been swamped, dude. And like I said, moving to Wisconsin, trying to buy a house, looking for houses. Dude, my life's just been crazy, crazy. But then doing all the work, I'll get to it. I promise. But anyway, I'm gonna get on out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Like I said, I'm trying to redo the NBA channel because I mean I did the whole community post about it, so I won't go over it again. But trying to build this back up, so it's gonna take a little time. But appreciate everyone doing these live streams. I need to get the watch time, so appreciate you guys. And if you can, at any point, just like if you're taking a shower, throw the live stream on again or play all my videos, whatever. I need to get the watch time so I can get this monetized. I want to try to do that before the off season starts because I think it's going to be a lot. But now that I know, problem with the other as it stands, as it stands sports was I created at a time that I didn't really understand YouTube. So I got like a bunch of like dead subs on that channel, and it's just I was trying to keep it alive and it just was pointless. So converted that, and now I got this. Now that I actually have an understanding of how this works, want to get this channel monetized, and once I get this monetized, then I'll be good. I'll be able to grow it and build it and grind it out. So I appreciate you guys. Seriously. I know these live streams aren't like the Laker channels and all that other stuff where, we have hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, but, sometimes I like these little intimate ones, right? The little more calmer, not like trying to figure, make sure checking on the chat, doing all this stuff. I like these little calm, intimate ones, but I appreciate you guys. I definitely will be streaming on Laker channel and stuff soon. Like I said, I just want to try to get this channel monetized real quick, and then I'll get back to, schedule and all that stuff once we get in the off season. But appreciate you guys. You guys are beautiful. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I will see you guys in the next one.